everyone. I know that you all are doing well. So far, you have learned about cells, tissues, and here we are going to learn about different animals. See, I introduced the chapter already. No, I didn't have to do that. I should introduce myself. I'm Anjali Ahuja. I hope you know me already, so I will not say much. I'm your biology teacher. I'm going to share my screen and let's start learning. Give me a second. You will be able to see the presentation thing that I'm going to put on the full screen. And let me confirm if you can see this screen only. Isn't it a nice picture? I could have added something else, but yeah, I thought that's fine. Okay. So my point is that imagine you go into a jungle and you find a lot of animals that you would love to see if you're going in a jungle, in a forest reserve, or any place. My point is again, how will you identify these all animals? There might be some animals that will be like liking it. They are nice and something, you know that already. And then there might be animal you have to see into the description, because at every place description is written, then you have to see what they are and those things. What I want to say, you need description. What if you remember all the description? What if you are able to just learn everything? Not in a I will say brief way, but in a broader way, depending upon how they are looking, how many legs or arm they have, what are their eyes type, what's their body's design. Like this, these might be the basic information. Thing that I want to say, you always need some basic information to collect and to make some information, like you to make some brief output out of it. Why I'm saying this, reason being, in this chapter you will be learning about animals, but then you will also be learning about their properties. That's what you have to do. Tip of the day, I always give it. Tip of the day is, before you start learning about any of the category in this chapter, you should learn example first. Not only in here, but in all topics in biology, you should learn examples first, because example is something, then you will be able to write its property on the basis of example. I will repeat this thing literally while I'm telling you example, and then I'll tell you, see, you know the example, and now you can write the property. In this part, what we are going to cover is, we're going to have introduction that I already gave you, classification basis, that how you classify the organism. You are learning all the brief about it, but then what are the points which are making you to learn all those points? And hierarchy of classification, binomial nomenclature, and five kingdom system classification. That's an introductory part that's needed in this chapter. So let's start. So the first thing is introduction. Into the introduction, I don't have to tell you anything about that. We are going to learn about animals, we are going to learn, but if a question come in your paper that why classification is important, why classification is needed, then what you will be writing? So then you will answer, your answer should be, it will become easy to identify the organism, because when you have made the classification on the basis of certain properties, so it will become easy to classify organism and identify organism. Isn't it? Any other point you can think of? Think about more points. Why classification is needed? It become easy to classify and identify. It helps in keeping statistics of the animal. Statistics of the animal. Statistic as in their number, how many number, in which country, in which region, in which area, these numbers. So statistic is all about the number. Keeping statistics become easy. Think about more points. Come on. You people are very innovative. Let me think now, because I suppose I thought I'm just going to discuss that, and that's my mistake that I did not keep this interrupting thing on silent. I'm going to just throw it up away from me. I don't need it right now. I'm so sorry. Okay, so I was saying that you can just write why classification is needed. One, it is easy to classify and identify organism. You can keep a clear statistics of the organism. And third thing is that you get to know complete organization of the organism. Organization as in not only in external but internal organization. Organization of their body structure. you are able to learn. Okay. Now, what I want to say in this chapter is, because we are learning about all the classification, there are different kind of organisms. Like imagine there is a lizard in front of you. Not imagine, that's scary. There's a dog in front of you. Imagine there's a fish in front of you, or maybe a cockroach, or maybe a human, or whatsoever. You are obviously able to identify that they are different from each other. My point is, what's coming in your brain right now when you just separating them up? Think about it. They look different, their size is different, the way they live is different. One is in water and one is outside. The food they're taking is different. The lifestyle they are living is different. Their internal structure, body organization is different. The way they breathe is different. The way they excrete is different. There are so many differences. So before we start learning about all the classification, we have to understand these differences. That how come these organisms are categorized. Obviously, there are certain features on the basis of which we are categorizing them, how they're feeding, how they're eating. So we have to collect and make a list of that first, and then we will talk about that point. That's what I want to say. So classification basis, I'll come to that point, but even before that, let me just tell you, there can be variety in a different characteristic. There can be variety in size, there can be variety in complexity. Other than that, this is like I'm taking you to the narrower, I'm just narrowing the way. From brief way, I have from the broader way, I have started the way they're living, and then in the brief size, like elephant is of bigger size, and then lizard is of small size, and insect is even of small size. Complexity, we people are really very complex human being mammals. And then if I talk about bacteria, it's really very simple. It's just single cell which is surviving. So that's what the point is. And let's learn it in a technical and specific way, because eventually you people have to write it in the exam. And all the time, if I keep on speaking, you will feel like, oh, ma'am is speaking something, I'm not able to make notes, I'm not able to decide what to write in the notebook. So from there you can just start noting it down in your notebook. So first is classification basis. Presence of nucleus. I am telling you basis of classification, and I have written 4 points on the screen, but there are many more points that I'm going to tell you. First is presence of nucleus. On the basis of whether nucleus is present or not, you have learned that in cell chapter. They are of two types, prokaryotic and eukaryotic one. Prokaryotic organism and eukaryotic organism. Into the prokaryotic categories include a bacteria. It's actually a total kingdom under it, which is known as Monera. In this chapter, we will be learning all the kingdom, and there is a one kingdom which is known as Monera. Bacteria belongs to that, so you just write Monera. Eukaryotic are all of the kingdom other than Monera. That includes Protista, fungi, plant, and animal. For now, you might not be able to understand Monera, Protista, I don't know, but once you start learning with this chapter properly, you will be able to understand all the terminology, plant and animals. And now that's the first basis of classification. And I hope I'm just not giving tough looks all the time. So let me make your things a little simple. Okay. So sometime you're like, when you're learning too much technical, you seem like we're going into it. Anyways, let's continue. Body design, makeup of cells. Makeup of cell as in either they will be having just one cell, or they will be having a group of cell which is working together. So it is single celled or multicellular organism, or you may say unicellular or multicellular organism. Unicellular means just one cell which is surviving on its own. It doesn't have to take anything with other organism out there. For example, bacteria again, or a total kingdom Protista. And then multicellular is rest of them. Protista, fungi, animal, and plant. Okay. Next is production of food. How they are making their food. Let me change the pen color, huh? Okay. How they are making their food. They are basically of two types, autotroph and heterotroph. Troph means heterotroph. Troph means nutrition. Auto means self. Hetero means other. So autotroph are the one they are making their food by themselves, and hetero is the one they're dependent on another organism for the food. And even if I'm telling you definition of this, you must know that. I know that you. So example is plants and heterotroph is all the dependent which are on the plant dependent. Level of organization in bodies of organism carrying out photosynthesis. Why they have written it? Carrying out. Level of organization. I am cutting this line. I don't need it. Level of organization means how come their body is organized. If I talk about our body, we do have the cell, tissue, organ system, everything is there. But if I talk about other organisms, there might be cellular level of organization, tissue level of organization. It is nothing like that. Tissue and organ will always be there. Some organisms have story ends up to cell level only, then story ends up to tissue level only, and then in us, that's organ level. So there are 3 levels of organization. Fair enough. You will get to know more details about the classification basis, and for that I have a video. Did I add? Okay, so classification basis, I'll come here after the video and I'll revise it with you. This is the video that you see it on the screen. That video is, oh, okay. I'm gonna show OneNote. I'm gonna play it in the OneNote. Let me just change the screen share. Hold on. So let me show you all the points. So in this video, even before I start, bacha, let me tell you, in this part, we will be learning about basis of classification. That other than the few 4 or 5 points I have told you, there are much more points that you can add. That these are the basis on the basis of which I can categorize all the animals and plants. I'm going to play the video and I don't know whether you will be able to hear it or not. I will be speaking it. I'm going to put it on silent. Hold on. So animal kingdom, this is classified on the basis of body symmetry, arrangement of cells, germinal layer, nature of coelom, segmentation, and presence of notochord. These all points I was frankly saying I did not see the video before I started talking about it, but it is covering all the points that I thought I'm going to tell you. I'll come back there, I'll revise if it is needed, but then for now, understand it up. That suppose I am looking this and a dog shape is different and a cat shape is different. That's having different way how we are surviving. Our skeletal system is different. So my point is that let's be on a broader way. And these are the point on the basis of which we do classification. Body symmetry, coelom, segmentation, nature of coeloms, and presence of notochord. Do not worry. I'm going to explain you all these points. What is the segmentation, what is coelom, and what is notochord. Acha, they have already written, they have briefly explained. The first is level of organization. I have told you either it is unicellular or multicellular. Monera is unicellular, but all members of Animalia, they have written that they are multicellular, but exhibit different level of organization. Okay, so my point is, guys, you know, the topic that I'm taking right now, this is like a detailed version of all bases of classification. You might revise it. I'm gonna make you revise this once I talk about kingdom Animalia, because these bases of classification are broadly used in kingdom Animalia because we are the one who are having all the organ system, and into the organ system how we are breathing, digesting, skeletal system moving and all that, on the basis of which classification is also done. So that's fine. I'm going to just cover all the points and I'll revise in animal kingdom all the points, whatever is necessary at that time. But for now, just learn everything. Basis of classification. Either it can be cell, tissue, or organ level. So they're talking about all the multicellular and multicellular. Guys, in the cellular level of organization, there's one more thing. Cellular level may, like, there's a unicellular and multicellular. Into the unicellular now, it is not like only one cell is present all the time. They can present as in aggregates. Like I'm saying, a bacteria is unicellular, but there can be millions of bacteria present together. We call it as colony, an aggregate of the bacteria. So unicellular can also be present in the form of aggregates, that I want to say, but let's understand this video first. Unicellular, multicellular, I have explained you. I don't have to speak it. You can just read out the information. Into the tissue level of organization, they have written the example that seal and traits are the one. Guys, while the time they are explaining all the basis of classification, they are providing examples also. Learning example is a must and must and must thing that you have to do. Okay. Because once if that definition come in your paper, now you should write examples. So into the tissue, obviously same function arranged in a group. So group of cells are present. So seal and trait is the best example of it. Then there is organ level, platyhelminthes, flatworms, that they have different organ to perform. Now the next one is organ system. See, in organ and organ system are the two different things. I'm saying I have a nose, that's my organ, but that is a part of respiratory system. So we are into organ, not organ, but organ system level. I am saying I have mouth, but that's a part of digestive system. So digestive system is the organ system where many organs are forming up a system. So last one is organ system. In higher and the complex organism, organs are together forming the organ system. So mollusk, all the chordate, not animals, sorry, not mammals to which we belong, but all the chordates belong to this category. Now, what are the examples of chordate? I'll teach you that. Stay connected. So the next one is symmetry. Planes. What is symmetry? Planes passing through the body surface. Like I'm like, not standing, but I'm sitting. But there's a plane in my center which is cutting me in two halves. So symmetry means there might be a plane which is cutting the organism in two equal parts. Plane passing through the body, dividing it into equal half. Animal can be categorized on the basis of their body symmetry. So on the basis of that characteristic, there are mainly 3 or 4 types of, I'll tell you. First is asymmetrical, then the body design is asymmetrical. Any plane cannot cut it through any of the equal half. Example is sponges. Then there is radial symmetry, that along the radius a line is passing and it is cutting it into two identical half. That's radial symmetry. Example is seal and traits. They have not written seal and trait. Acha, sorry. They have written seal and trait, ctenophore and echinoderms. Ctenophore are actually you must have seen in the water, which are, bioluminescence. They are illuminating. Illumination, or you may say bioluminescence is there, that they are, like glow worms used to, glow up, like them, they are into the water. That category is ctenophore. So these are all classification, these are all examples of the radial symmetry. Now the third one is bilateral symmetry. Bilateral symmetry means there's only one single plane which is passing through the center and cutting it into two identical half, like us, arthropod, annelids. Next is diploplastic and triploplastic organization. Before we understand this thing up, guys, I have a definition to tell you. There is a thing which is known as germ layer. Let me just write it up there now. There is a thing which is known as germ layer. Germ layer means germinal layer, like when a sperm is meeting up to the ova in all the living creature, like male gamete is fusing with the female gamete, they form the zygote, and then zygote divides to form a mass of cell, and that mass of cell, there is a grown stage which is known as blastula. This blastula further is the one which is going to form the baby of any living organism. While it forms the baby, then different body organs are formed. Into the baby, initially germ layers are formed. These germ layers later on form the different part of the body. So mass of cell is nothing, but there are layers into the mass of cell, 3 or 2 germ layer. We call it as the germ layer or germinal layer. So there can be two cases. Either there can be diploblastic or triploblastic. Into the diploblastic, there are 2 germinal layer, 2 embryonic layer, an external ectoderm and internal endoderm. We call it as the diploblastic. Example is seal and traits. And the next one is triploblastic, where there are 3 germinal layer. Let him read it. Probably in his sound he's speaking. So an undifferentiated layer, mesoglia, is present between the ectoderm and endoderm. Guys, this person is only talking about diploblastic in this video right now. That into the diploblastic one, mesoglia is also present, which is, let me move back. Na? So in this one, that he's saying that, yeah, na? So in this video, he's only talking about diploblastic. That in diploblastic, other than ectoderm and endoderm, a mesoglia is present. That is not the germinal layer; it is undifferentiated. Now let me talk about the triploblastic. Into the triploblastic, 3 layers are present: mesoderm, ectoderm, and endoderm. Not the mesoglia, but mesoderm. Mesoglia is in diploblastic. Remember that. Here it is properly differentiated. Now, when our body organs are formed, now everything is well known. Everything is well known. He's providing example also. Everything is well known that which body part will be formed from which germinal layer. Ectoderm will form different part, endoderm will form different part, mesoderm will form different part. Like that's how it happens. Okay. So all these points I have covered up. There might be few more points left, which I don't think is required right now. While I talk only about animals, then I'll remember that thing. I'll tell you that, might not remember. So these are all the basics of classification. So let me just revise it up. There is symmetry. There is level of organization. Acha, coelom I did not tell you now. I'll tell you coelom also now only. Coelom, and then there is germinal layer. And then triploblastic, symmetry, unicellular, multicellular, level of organization, cell organization. These are the points we have discussed now, I suppose. It's fine, it's fine. So guys, one more coelom point is there that, let me see, do I have to tell you coelom now or will that be fine in animal coelom? Acha. Chalo, theek hai. I'm gonna cover coelom now only because then things will become relatable. As you're talking about the basis of classification, we should remember the coelom also. Okay, so now I'm gonna cover hierarchy of classification. Before that, let me cover the last point, which is coelom. Coelom is defined as the body cavity, which is separating the external layer through the digestive system. That internally digestive system is present, and then this is the body cavity, which is a space between it. And on the basis of how organisms are having body cavity, organisms are categorized into 3 categories. I'm talking about the coelom here. There are 3 categories of organisms. One is acoelomates. Then there are eucoelomates, and there are pseudocoelomates. Okay, coelom is defined as a body cavity which is separating the external layer, not the external, the internal cavity itself from the digestive system. So now I'm going to show you a picture of all these categories, how come the coelom is separated. And for that, give me a second. I'm going to add one slide into it and I'll add the picture. Okay. Don't worry, I'm not gonna make you bored. I have to stop the screen share. No, I will not. I'm gonna just directly add it up there. Guys, you know what? People get scared at this topic, but there's nothing to be worried about. I'm telling you. Reason being, this chapter is really very important. If you learn this chapter in 9th class properly, now you will not face problem in your 11th and 12th. I guarantee telling you on this. The reason being, you will be learning that in great detail, and you should learn that chapter. My suggestion. Then you will not get confused. No, I don't like this picture. I have the most common picture I'm gonna upload. I need a new slide here. Let me just upload the picture. I'm going to talk about this long. Okay, done. Thank you for waiting. You people are so lovely. Let's continue. Okay, I have a blank space here. I mean, I have added, and let me confirm my screen is shared now. Okay. So, guys, I was talking about the coelom, which is defined as the body cavity on the basis of what kind of body cavity they are having. There are three types: acoelomate, eucoelomate, and pseudocoelomate. Acoelomate means body cavity is absent. They have the digestive system cavity. We don't have to include in that. They simply ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm. Acoelomates flatworm. A means absent. Example they have shown. Now the second one is U. U means true, that the true body cavity is present. Guys, one thing that you have to remember, and you should write it in the definition, that body cavity is always lined by mesoderm. Lined by mesoderm. So next time when you write the definition, coelom is defined as the body cavity which is in between the digestive system and the body layer, and this is lined by mesoderm. This thing you must remember. If you see, this is coelom on the both sides, this pinkish color, whatever color is this, I'm weak in that, but this color is present on both the sides. That's a true coelomate. Now examples are annelid, mollusk, arthropod, echinoderm, and chordate. For now, you might be feeling too difficult to remember the name, but while you talk about the property in detail and you learn example, these things will become easy for you. But for now, you should have the idea that what you're going to learn in this chapter. Then the third one is pseudocoelomate. Pseudo word means false. That a body cavity is present, but that's a false body cavity. I mean, this is a body cavity, but on one side, this is covered up by the endoderm. On another side, this is covered up by the mesoderm. This is body cavity, na? Mesoderm and endoderm. So in between them, the pseudocoelom is present. Example is roundworm. Roundworm? Take it. I was like Escalminthus is in my mind, and I was saying roundworm. Escalminthus is not the name of roundworm. So that's Nemathelminthus, Escalminthus. That's the only category which is pseudocoelomate, and they both name the same. It's fine. You will learn that again. So with this, we are done with all the basis of classification, and on the basis of these characteristics, we do classify the things up. And I suppose everything is clear. So let's move forward. The next thing that we have to talk about is hierarchy of classification. Hierarchy of classification means obviously we have to categorize all the organisms in certain category. We have to start it from the big one, and then you have to categorize into the smaller one. I mean, like if I talk about a family, sorry, like if we talk about a family, you have your grandparents, then great grandparents, then your great grandparents are having 2-3 kids, and then they are actually your grandparents, and then they have a family tree kind of. It's a family tree. What if we take an animal tree? That human and monkey, they have many characteristics same. Let's put them in a same category. Or maybe a cockroach, a beetle is having a little more same characteristic. Let's put them into the same, bigger category. Bird, you may say a parrot or maybe a sparrow. They both are birds and they have many characteristics which is same. So let's put them into same category. So not only into the family tree, but here into the animals we have done the same. That there is the smallest category, then it keep on connecting. So let's start it from the big one. That's what a hierarchy of classification system. So this is like a taxonomy category. Yeah, all category just make the taxonomy category. That's hierarchy. This was given by Carolus Linnaeus. And there are mainly 7 categories into the hierarchy of classification: kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. Now, talking further, kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. Talking further, all of the category is known as taxon. Taxa is the plural one, taxon. Taxon means one category. I'm saying kingdom taxon, phylum taxon. So one category is one taxon. Are you getting my point? One category of the hierarchical classification is known as taxon. I'm saying second taxon means the phylum, third taxon means the class, like that way it happened. Now, how you have to remember the sequence? Keep putting chocolate, keep putting chocolate out for God's sake. Or you can remember it like keep pot clean or family get sick. So these are the way you can follow to remember the same, but this is a sequential pattern. This is the hierarchy. Kingdom is the largest one. Now let me help you with how you have to remember the definition. First, I'm gonna just, make a simple point here. Kingdom is classified into phylum. Phylum is classified into a class, and then a class, probably it can have 2, 3, 4, 5 category. I'm not defining the number right now. A class is categorized into order, and order is further categorized into family, and then family is further divided into genus, and then genus is further divided into species. Right? How you have to define? Kingdom, this is the largest category into the hierarchy of classification. Clear? For example, kingdom animal, kingdom plant, kingdom fungi, kingdom protista, kingdom monera, all that. Clear? Then you will say phylum. And kingdom is the largest group you can just write. Then you can say phylum. Phylum is the largest category with related classes. This is defined as group of related classes. For example, think about it. For example, there is a phylum fishes, phylum mammals, phylum birds, I mean aves. That's phylum, na? It's group of related classes. Clear? Then a class. Class is defined as, let me just change the pen color. I might write few more words. Ahuja select, deselected. Guys, neglect if I speak a little Hindi. I do not use Hindi while the time I teach. It's just few words by mistake. You're not missing anything. I might talk with myself during the time. Okay. So class is defined as a group of orders. That's how you have to define. And then you will give examples. This is defined as a group of order. Now, can you give me example? For example, the class is, acha, into the phylum is related classes. Take it. Into the mammals classes are considered. So basically, imagine fishes together. I was giving you example into the phylum. These fishes, mammals, classes, sorry if I told them as like a phylum, they are actually the classes. They all belong to phylum chordata. The phylum is the chordata, and these are all classes. So into the group of order, you can say a class is defined as a group of order. For example, mammal is a class. For example, aves is a class which has different order in it. So this mammals, bird, and fishes that I write, they're actually the classes, and chordata is big phylum. I'm so sorry if by mistake I mentioned it. Why did I do that? Am I being stupid? Okay, let's continue. Okay, so the next one is order. Order is a group of related family. I don't have to write it, but then yeah, it's group of related family. For example, the family of cat and family of dog is related to the order Carnivora. A group of family of dog, a family of foxes, they all are carnivores. So carnivore is the order. Now talking about the family, it has group of genus, a group of related genus. Are you getting my point? Now, if I give you example like lion, tiger, cat belong to family Felidae. For example, there is a family Felidae, Felidae, and into it, what I was saying, lion, tiger, and wild cat belong. This is Felidae, which is a family. Now, same thing you will done in the case of genus. That into the genus, this is the largest taxon is the genus. Let me change the pen color. Do I have a space? I'm so sorry. Why I'm writing here. Okay, so genus is further categorized into species, right? So about the genus, you will say this is group of related species. Largest taxon. There are maximum number of, genus are there. Okay, not more than the species itself. So there's a group which are closely. Now, if you talk about the examples of genus, you can think about the human. I cannot undo it. I have just lined it up. Yeah. So example of the genus, I'll tell you while I talk about an example. And now talking about the species. About the species, you will say this is the smallest taxon. For every category, you can use the word taxon. This is the smallest taxon. And the special property of species is that they can intrabreed. Intrabreed and interbreed तो within हो जाएगा ना. हाँ मतलब इंट्राब्रीड ही होगा ना. They can just I mean organism in this species can breed with each other. Like a human can reproduce with human, breed with human, a cat with cat. So that's different species. They cannot intrabreed. Exceptions are there like mule and liger, but that's not like done naturally. So that's the point. Into the species, they can breed in between the same species, and into the genus that cannot be done. That human or related species, like human or monkey might have the same genus, might have, yeah, they have. And then parrot or the same sparrow, I was saying, they can have because that's the same different species but belong to the same genus. Okay, so one thing that you have to remember if you're giving NTSC or any entrance exam, at least example. This is an example of human. Homo sapien. Species is Homo sapien. Member of the genus Homo with a forehead and thick skull bones, and Homo, that's a genus. Hominid with upright posture and large brains. And then hominids, primate with relatively flat face and three-dimensional vision, like a monkey or hominids. Primates, mammal with collarbones and grasping fingers. Mammals, that's the biggest category, corded with fur or hair and the milk gland. All the mammals, whoever organism is feeding their baby, they all are mammals because they have the mammary glands which are helping in the feeding. Then animals with a backbone. Actually, backbone word will be very not updated thing. That's for the lower grade. For the chordate, I will not use the word backbone. I will use the word notochord. Now, what is a notochord? Obviously, you will learn that. And animals belong to more on their own. That's it. This is what about the human classification. Other than that, I will suggest if you can learn more. But for you, this Homo sapien example is much enough. Now, I suppose hierarchy classification is much, much, much clear to you. If you have any doubt, what you have to do, put it on your discussion board. Let's move forward. Now student can have confusion into the nomenclature thing because many student ask the doubt, have the doubt, or they get confused at the point how to write the scientific name. I mean, imagine I am writing a scientific name, Pisum sativa. This is the scientific name of the pea plant. And now if I tell you find error in, I have written a correct name, the name is correct, but the way I have written, is it right? Find out the error. I'm putting this question on hold. So yeah, it was a great study of discussion. How to write scientific name. There's an organization who is actually fixing it. One is ICBN and one is ICZN. Scientific full form, please remember. Okay, so the full form is International Code of Zoological Nomenclature. And here, this is International Code for Botanical Nomenclature. So these are the organizations which are handling it up, which are handling all the data. This was given by C. Linnaeus. That's why they have written Linnean system of binomial nomenclature. Now, guys, Writing scientific name is another thing. And now, before even I start talking about it, I have a question. Do you know why all the names are Greek and Latin? Whenever you learn the scientific names, think about it. I always ask it to all the students. No, if you're thinking all the scientists are from the Greek region, that's wrong. They are from everywhere. Actually, the language Latin and Greek, they are the oldest language. Oldest language. If I'm saying mango in English, I'm saying aam in Hindi, or probably in some other. In Punjabi, if I say that's amb. So what I'm trying to say that in different language, there will be different way of speaking something. There should be a way that there's just one word for the common. Even if you're meeting a person, you're not able to understand the same language, you will be able to have that language. That's a scientific language. There are scientific names. And the language why Greek and Latin are chosen, they are the oldest language. There's no chance that they will be modified. Nowadays, new and new words are added in English. LOL, ROFL, you live only once. YOLO, yeah, YOLO. So this like words are added. My point is that there's no like Sanskrit and Hindi also. Sanskrit, not Hindi. Sanskrit is also the very oldest language. So these are the reason that they choose this language. There's no chance that it will be modified. You can use it throughout. Clear? That answer you can write. Now coming back to the binomial nomenclature. What should be the way? This language was chosen to write. And there's a way to write it. The way I have written is wrong. There are certain rules. Time to time, different nomenclature system has been given. Yeah, there is a trinomial nomenclature also. Polynomial nomenclature is also there, where many names are given. But the most accepted one is binomial nomenclature. Yes. Let me tell you what the rules of this. I don't have space. Okay. No, I'm not going into the space. I'm going to write it here. No, I need a blank slide. Why to just mess it up? It's okay. You can wait. You people are very nice. Give me a second. I'll add a blank slide. You know, if you watch recording of the classes, that might be very, I don't know how you're going to feel. But then in this video recording, you are not going to waste your time. There's a blank slide I have added. I hope you're able to see, but still I will share the new share again, just so as to just make sure. Okay, so now there are rules for the binomial nomenclature. Binomial nomenclature says that two names are given. Two names are given to any of the organism. One is the generic name and one is a scientific name. Scientific name? A species name, a specific name. From the generic name, I mean, generic has been taken from the word genus. That genus name has to be included. Then specific name is the species name that it has to be included. So the first genus generic name will be written and then species. Now that's the first rule. Second rule is that the first letter of the genus name, should be capital. And the second letter, not the second letter, first letter of species, I will say. First letter of species should be small. Like I was saying, Pisum sativum, it should be written as Pisum with small a sativum, like that way. Now, third rule is that that's a small one. I have written bigger one there. Third rule is that if you're typing it onto the paper, you should write that in italics. If you're writing it, then you should underline it up. So the next mistake that I did, I should have underlined it up like this separately. Okay. Is there any other thing I'm just forgetting? Yeah, the fourth one, genus and species name cannot be same. There are exceptions also. Like Pisum sativum, they're different, but exception. Few exception, 1, 2 exception. Like for the rat, this is Rattus rattus. That's an exception. But genus and species name cannot be same. So these are the rules of binomenclature. Now I suppose that's clear to you. And it's my suggestion you should learn some scientific name. Like for mango, I'm just writing few example. Mangifera indica. Then for tiger, there's Panthera tigris. And you must have learned that, acha, into the improvement chapter, you'll be learning more, na? Okay, so yeah, I'm just telling you a few examples. You can just remember. For banyan tree, there is Ficus bengalensis. There are many, many examples. If I keep on writing, it's just, striking my head, a lot of them. Ficus bengalensis. And yeah, there are many examples, filling my head up. These examples are much enough for you. So these are rules of binomial nomenclature and few examples I have told you. Now, the very last thing which is left in the chapter is actually I have a video here too, but let me see if we can explain it here or not. 5 kingdom system classification. Now, we are talking about the kingdoms, the largest category, which is further divided into phylum and all that thing that we'll study later. But there are 5 kingdom systems. This was explained by a person named R.H. Whitaker. This is the most accepted. Time to time, different classification system has been given. There is a 3 kingdom system, 4 kingdom system, and when even kingdom system study started, they only started studying about plant also, only plant. What I'm speaking. For the first time, let me repeat. For the first time, when people started studying kingdom system classification, they only studied plants or only studied animals. But then there was a time that they started to include everything. And then there was 2 kingdom system, 4 kingdom system, 3 kingdom system, 5 kingdom system, whatever. So finally, 5 kingdom system classification was the one that was most accepted. And there are 5 categories, as you see: Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plant, and Animal. I'm going to teach you these categories in very, very brief manner. We are going to learn all of them in detail, but let me put in a brief manner. First thing that we have to understand, this classification system, it follows phylogenetic evolution. Phylogenetic as in their body system, phylogenetic ancestral history. I mean, you just remember that this 5 kingdom system, it follows evolution pattern. This will be a simple line to understand. Evolution pattern followed here. Why evolution pattern? That Monera is the simplest one. Protista is a little modern. Fungi is in body system talking about. Fungi is little modern. Plant is then, and then Animalia is the most modern animals, most modern body system, like that way. So evolution pattern. So Monera used to be, all Monera is unicellular and they are prokaryotic. And then Protista is unicellular and they are eukaryotic. And then into fungi, they are mostly multicellular except one, which is unicellular, except yeast, only one exception. And they all are eukaryotic. Multicellular, and eukaryote. Right? That's evolution pattern. That initially it was unicellular, then prokaryote, then started to be eukaryote, and then multicellular with the organ system, body system, all that story happens. So now, before you understand that in detail, just remember the example. What I'm going to cover in this part is examples of them that I think you should remember. Into the Monera example is because if you learn example, learning properties become easy. Keeping that example in mind, now that's really important in science. Keeping that example in mind, learning property become easy. I repeat myself. Okay, so example is bacteria, archibacteria, blue-green algae. Blue-green algae is also known as cyanobacteria if you don't know. And then mycobacteria, So these are all examples. Now let me give you example of the protista. I will write it with a different pen color. Okay, so into the protista example is diatoms, dinoflagellates, and then euglena, protozoa. Into the protozoa, amoeba, euglena would actually belong to protozoa only. Diatom, dinofraisozoites. Actually, I know a number of examples. I'm not thinking of the example. Diatom is a category. Dinoflagellate is a category. Protozoa, slime molds. Slime molds. Now, talking about the fungi, it has mushroom, black mold, rhizopus, bread mold. Black mold is another name. Rhizopus, and then yeast, few example, and I don't have to give you example of the plant and animals. So these are the basic examples that I've told you. And into this video, they were explaining all their properties. We will be learning all the kingdom from in the next part one by one. So I will show you this video there because then things will become more relatable. But what I have told you, the basic property that Monera is having these examples, they are unicellular and prokaryote, because you know what is the definition of prokaryote. Keeping prokaryote in mind, you can write their properties, can't you? You have learned that in cell chapter. Protista, eukaryote. Fungi, you must know, you have learned that in the reproduction part, asexual reproduction. So anyways, these are all the basic property, and I suppose we are done on this part. I'm going to cover further things in the next part. If I suppose anything is left, I'll tell you that. I'm not explaining this video right now, but I promise in the next part, don't worry. You're not going to miss anything. So these are certain organisms, certain questions that we are going to discuss. Why do we classify organisms? I suppose I've answered. The very first thing that I did in this video is that only. Give 3 examples of the range of variation that you see in life forms around you. You could just write n number of examples. That much you have learned at least. So guys, these are few examples that we have learned as a question. But let me think if I can ask you another question. Thank you. You keep on watching it. Thank you. Let me put a question to you, whatever we have learned today. Okay. So which one of the following is pseudocoelomate? Your options are sponges. Third, why I'm writing third. Nemethelminthes. Second is, what is wrong with me? My brain is not reading myself. Second is Nemethelminthes. Third is Platyhelminthes. And the fourth one is annelids. Now think about it. Pseudocoelomates. Guys, I told you this already, that wherever you see Nemethelminthes, that is the only category which are pseudocoelomate. They are also known as round forms. So that's the answer. Okay. So I suppose everything is clear to you. Now the same stuff you can see into your book and practice as much as question that you can do. From my side, I've told you a few questions and we are done with it. I'm stopping the screen share now. And I'm just coming on the screen to say you bye for now, because I'm going to meet you soon in the next part. But if you have any doubt, you know what you have to do. You people are very nice and you people know that where you have to post your doubts. Bye and take care.